So my name's Nickala. I run an organisation, as Sharon said, called Flourish Together. We're a pay-it-forward consultancy that supports people around enterprise, innovation, leadership. We've been going for just over 12 years, and we're thrilled to be the operational supporting partner in this programme alongside She Leads for Legacy for year 2. And we can't wait to see who joins the programme this year.
Brilliant, thank you so much. So just by way of brief introduction.
And I will screen share in just a second. I was just replying to somebody's comment. I don't know if I already had. There's somebody called Carmen. I was just saying that if she logs out and in again, it might help. She may already have done that, to be fair. I can't see her now. Great.
But
Okay.
just to let everyone know that this webinar is being recorded, and so if you prefer not to have yourself on the screen, that's perfectly fine. And this will be available for a replay for you to watch again on replay, or to share with your network to inform them of what this program is all about. So just by way of brief introduction, as Nickala has mentioned, we are the delivery partners for the We Lead for Legacy program. And if I can just invite everyone, please, just because this is being recorded, if you can place yourself on mute, it will just assist with all of the future viewings of this particular recording. We're delighted to be delivering this program for the second year. It's a program that has been commissioned and sponsored by the Greater Manchester Combined Authority. And the authority has recognised that across Greater Manchester, in key areas of civic leadership, whether that be in a political sphere, whether that be in relation to government roles, or whether that be in relation to governance roles, or in law, for example, as a magistrate. There are so many areas across civic society where we don't have representation reflecting the great diversity across the Greater Manchester region. And so in order to address this, the Combined Authority invested in this programme. This is the third year of the programme, actually. The second year that we have been running this program. And last year it was a phenomenal success, and in due course you'll hear from previous participants about their experiences. And this year we're really excited about it because we know just how impactful it can be in just raising awareness, one, of the opportunities for civic leadership across the Greater Manchester region, but also the empowerment that takes place for the participants, whether it be in relation to personal agency, whether it be in relation to building a peer network of like-minded people, or in fact expanding your professional network and gaining opportunities to access ways of working and impacting your community in the way in which you would not have otherwise. And so we're absolutely delighted that you have joined the call today, that you have expressed your interest in this way to find out more. And I'm going to be handing over to Nickala now, who will be setting out more about some of the key points of information about the programme. There will, of course, be the opportunity for you to ask questions, and we really welcome you being able to do that. And then after, we will avail you of the information to help you understand how to then go on to make a submission of expression of interest if you wish to go ahead. So Nickala, over to you. Looking forward to hearing more about We Lead for Legacy, the programme.
Thanks, Sharon. Yeah, I thought I'd just flag up the agenda there so people arriving could see what was happening in the next half an hour or so. So yes, Sharon set some context there for the programme itself and sort of how this has come into being, and some of the key challenges and opportunities we hope this year's programme and the concept of the overall We Lead for Legacy programme will seek to shift over the coming years. I'm going to whistle through some information about the programme itself, spend a bit of time just helping people understand how we go about selecting participants. And then we've got a past participant, Gurj Kang, who will be sharing his experiences, as well as a video that we've got to show you with some wider programme participants from last year. And then we'll jump into questions. But as Sharon said, do pop those in the chat if you've got them to mind and you want to be letting us know what you'd like to ask. So programme itself, we have got a series of days for you that we're really excited to present. 5-day program plus a graduation ceremony is the bulk of the We Lead for Legacy program. The program kicks off in May, on the 22nd of May. It basically is a commitment of a day a month, give or take, with a little bit of a break in the summer for you to come and expand your personal professional development around leadership, in particular civic and social leadership, to help you on your pathway, whether you've come to us from the public sector, the private sector, the voluntary community sector. You might have had a cross-sector career, you might have been out of work for some time. Either way, there's a potentially a place and a space for you on this program to help you look at how you can lead change for the future, or amplify and increase your impact as a leader across Greater Manchester and beyond. So day one's all about getting you immersed into the programme. It's a great day where you get to meet your colleagues and peers on the programme for the rest of the year. We also have all of our local authority leads who back this programme across each borough, who attend that alongside members of the GMCA, and all being well, subject to confirmation, Andy Burnham will be hopefully joining that day as he did last year. We'll be letting you know more about that as we get confirmation. But it's a great day for setting the tone, helping you think about what you want from this programme, starting to set you off with your own sort of action planning, and thinking about the complementary sort of differences and opportunities in the characters and the pathways that the people have come to the programme. So it's a great sort of first day to kick things off. You'll see from there on in, there are thematic days that look and explore a range of topics. We start off with your ability to lead with purpose, and that purposeful leadership can create real systems change. And so Sharon runs a great session around systems leadership and getting you to think about what's your role in this, and where do you want this to take you, and exploring how you might expand your thinking on this. We have a range of wider senior leaders that come in from across different sectors and across different roles. Those might be industry sectors, they may be different civic leadership roles, as Sharon's mentioned, magistrates, people working in the public sector, people working in particular roles in political life. And so you'll get to hear different perspectives of how people lead with purpose, and what that enables them to achieve, and the highs and lows of it, because it's not plain sailing necessarily. And part of being a leader is about being resilient, which is underpinned throughout the programme, having us support you to build that resilience. Day 3 is all about the leader in me. So after listening to lots of other leaders talk about their journeys and how they lead with purpose, we bring it back to you to really look at, analyse and think about your current leadership style, or the leadership style you'd hope to have, or maybe how you may want to evolve and shift your style to achieve different things. And so it's a great day to look at both how you operate, but also, more importantly, how you look after yourself on your journey as a leader, and self-care being key to that. We also start to have visits to wider settings where different leaders in different places will be inviting you in to see them, I guess, at work, and having discussions around the kinds of civic leadership roles that they have. Day 4, we start to look at, we continue rather to look at your resilience as a leader. It's a really insightful day where, rather than inviting external speakers in so much for this topic, we look at how your peers, because invariably the people who come in the programme have had all sorts of leadership journeys and have had to build their own personal and professional resilience as leaders to get to this point. So there's a real peer learning opportunity from the people across the programme for you to learn more about the stories and the journeys of the leaders you're amongst on this programme. There are other speakers invited in, but we really emphasise putting it back to you and learning more about your colleagues on the programme during this day. And we also have a couple of additional practitioners who come in, lady called June Williams and also a lady called Jackie Bailey, who come in and out of some of the programme days that have lots of expertise around that wider resilience and helping you build, your strength and your insights as a leader. So there's Sharon and I, but also wider contributors who get involved in these days. The final day before we start to get into graduation ceremony is all about communication. And Sharon runs a great day, really helping you think about how to communicate effectively, looking at public speaking, looking at really telling that story, knowing your audience, thinking about your overall approach to communication so that, you speak with authenticity, be that, telling stories or influencing policy and anything else, or be that pitching for appointments and applications and so on, interviews and so forth. So there's a real broad range of knowledge and skills that you're going through the programme. And then we wrap it up with a fantastic graduation ceremony, mainly to showcase what's been achieved in such a short space of time, but also to celebrate the whole I guess the whole program really, in terms of the contributors who come back to join us, the people on the program itself, and everybody that's been part of it. We had a really fantastic time, and you'll see in a moment the video clips in the video I'm going to show shortly were taken at the graduation ceremony last time. A couple of other quick points to make on the program itself are it is more than the program days. There's a number of other things that help you build connections and strengthen what you're doing as a civic leader. There are 3 peer-to-peer support days, or support evenings, should I say. Basically, after day 3, day 4, and day 5, we feel, people start to get to know each other. They're wanting to connect more. There's more networking and reflection time needed. And so it's not mandatory, but we ask people to join a sort of 1.5 to 2 hour peer reflection session. Last year we ran these early evening because that suited the cohort. We will check with people, but a week after the programme day, we come back together as a group and we do some action learning, troubleshooting challenges, potentially supporting appointment sort of review and critiquing and thinking about what opportunities you're wanting to take forward next. And it's just a really good safe space to build further connections and put into action, some of those plans that you're trying to make come into being. There's also 2 other options as well as part of this year's programme. Because we've got this fantastic cohort from last year and a previous year to that, we're creating an alumni network, starting with the people who've been through the programme and opening up wider doors to try and connect other networks of this type, to build bridges, build connections, and really create a movement of civic leaders from diverse and racially minoritized backgrounds to learn from each other, showcase, influence. And so there's going to be the opportunity for you to connect in with that. More information will evolve on that. We're just currently seeking some enablers and ambassadors for that network to make it happen. We don't want to lead that. We want the network to, of people who've been on the programme to lead this. And there'll be a series of events, possibly some talks and wider mentoring and support to connect to there. And then we're also hoping, in partnership with the local authorities and other contacts, supporting people with potential appointment support. So there's a hope that through the programme, people will want to apply for public appointments. There might be appointments in the charity sector as directors of of charities and forums and so on, but also some of those wider public appointments that we've mentioned, be that, magistrates, councillors, people sitting on, school governor groups and boards, and wider opportunities that we'll share with you. So there's just some additional support there this year to help join the dots and help link you to some of those opportunities and take those next steps where you're ready to do so. So that's the programme in itself. We'll come back to some questions on that shortly. I was just going to just say a few words about the recruitment. So we're hoping that we're going to find around 30 or so people from across Greater Manchester who want to come onto this programme, and that we can select from a wider pool of applicants. And we've basically, based on last year's thinking, I think we had around 33 people on the programme. There were at least 2 from each borough, and we're looking to mirror that this year, basically. And so every borough of Greater Manchester will be represented, and people from a broad range of backgrounds will be on the programme. As I alluded before, people on various journeys from different sectors. They've come, different paths on their leadership journey, and we're expecting that some people who apply might be at an emerging stage, becoming a leader. There may be some of you who are established leaders, but who are seeking to sort of amplify their impact, step up, do things differently, lead with more purpose, and more connections and so on. So there's a spectrum of people, we imagine, who will be on this programme, from the emerging to the established. Age-wise, there's no upper age limit, and the age limit, really, we were saying for sort of 18 plus. However, we're just highlighting that Youth Leads are an organisation that the GMCA have supported to run a youth civic leadership programme. And typically those who are 18 to 25 would go on a Youth Leads programme. That's not to say that if you're in that age bracket, you can't apply and you can't come on this programme. If you've got leadership experience, maybe you've had some support through programmes, and you're really looking to sort of step up and step into your sort of, leadership potential, then absolutely, I would say, put your applications into the We Lead for Legacy programme to help build your strategic links, build your connections, and, really expand in where it is that you're wanting to go. But at the younger end of the age group, it could be that the Youth Leads work is a more suitable programme, depending on what you're wanting to gain from a programme. So we'll take those applications and those queries as they come. In terms of expectations, we're really looking for people who've got some sort of civic and social leadership interest, even if that's not something that you've done much of yet, showing us your interest, your potential, and letting us know what you want to gain from this on those lines would be really helpful as part of your expression of interest. Clearly, when talking about the 5 programme days and the graduation, we're hoping that the people who come on the programme have got that capacity to commit, and we're really looking for people who are going to make the majority, if not all, of the programme. We do understand life kicks in, and what I would say is, if you can't for some reason make a particular programme day, or you're worried there's something going on and there's a particular period in the year where you're going to struggle to make that day, don't let that put you off applying, but do just perhaps note that in your application, and so we can bear that in mind and support you and be aware of things coming up later in the year. And obviously, we're looking for a really diverse, broad range of people to join this programme, bringing in broader voices and broader perspectives, and making sure that the cohort and the programme that we have is highly inclusive, be that from geography, from the diversity of community, from sectors and so on. You may already be aware that the deadline for applications is the 31st of March, and I would say, well, we've got 2 weeks to go, so please don't delay. Anna will send the expressions of interest out again after the programme today for those who registered for the call, just as a reminder to make sure you apply if you're planning to. Or you can head straight to the She Leads for Legacy website /We Lead, where there's all sorts of resources and videos and links and information there, as well as the expression of interest form. So just some quick points before I share our video and have a little look at hearing from Gurj Kang, who's joined us to say more about his journey on the programme. Recruitment and selection. So it's just giving you a bit of an insight really into, additionally what we're looking for. So we really want to get a balanced set of demographics, we've called it, but a balanced set of, representation really from across boroughs and across backgrounds and geography. As mentioned, we're looking for those that are both at a slightly earlier stage and emergent in their journey, as well as established leaders, because that creates a really useful, I guess, peer dynamic, and it means that we can support a broad range of people on their leadership journey in different ways. There's a couple of questions on the expression of interest form that helps us understand whether you've got a real sort of values alignment with the programme and its principles, and having you just describe and give us some examples of how you align with the values of the programme is important. There's sections, and please feel free to tell us about any relevant interests or experience that you may have, as well as what you want and need from that programme. Knowing that you've got the capacity, as I've said, to commit to the programme, that you're going to be an active participant in contributing, and that there's an aspect of reciprocity and mutual support there, and that you're going to be able to participate in that kind of mutual support is key. We're all wanting everybody on the programme to grow and learn and support one another through their journey and through the programme days in a really safe and supported way. And clearly, as we've said, progressing into those public appointments and having a genuine interest in it, either finding out more and you're having your awareness raised, or moving towards, if not applying for, those sorts of opportunities will be key. I can come back and answer any further questions on that shortly. It was just one last point on this recruitment and selection is we have an independent panel who will be selecting. Last year we had in the region of 100 applications, so it was quite a competitive process. There's at least 2 members of the programme team on the recruitment panel. There are members of the wider steering group, who are an external group who help shape and guide the way the programme evolves. There'll be people from the GMCA potentially involved, not so much having a vote, but more of an oversight in terms of who's shown an interest in the programme. And then we've got a number of past participants who are also part of that recruitment and selection process. So there's a really broad set of people and brains helping us shape and see how we get the strongest cohort who can make the best use and make the most of the opportunity that the months ahead are going to provide. So it is competitive, but there is a broad and independent panel there looking at who will be coming onto the programme, and people will hear, as soon as we're able to let them know. I'll come back to timeline and things in just a second, but I'm just going to just hop off and put a little video on to bring it to life, really. I think that's the bit that's missing right now. So if you can just bear with me, can you still see? Oh, can you see my video? I just want to check where Nickala's there.
Still on the PowerPoint presentation.
No problem. I think I need to stop sharing and reshare the video. Sometimes you've got to get onto a different screen. Let's try again. How's that? Hopefully you can see Nickala there. Perfect. So I'm just going to play Nickala and give you an insight into who was on the programme and what they made of their journey last year.
The knowledge, the skills that I've gained along the way, I believe have made me who I am today, and I take that with me to who I'm going to be even tomorrow.
The program helped me to step into my zone. Sometimes you will be really don't know what power that you have. You don't recognize the knowledge and the skills that you've got.
It's reminding me again how strong we are as a group, how close we are, and how we have so much thing in common in terms of we have that passion change?
The program has helped me massively because it's given me confidence to speak up, speak out, given me confidence to represent people in my community who look like me, who don't have a voice.
Most of us have got the intention to do great stuff, to do great things, great exploits in this life, but we just need that final push, or somebody to actually tell us, yes, you can. And I think the program made that for us.
I feel more able to kind of stand in my authenticity as a leader.
There we go. So just a flavour really of who was on the programme last year and some of their thoughts towards the end of the programme there, and hopefully inspired you to you know, be thinking about your own potential journey on a programme like this. I'd like to just invite Gurj Kang, if I may, to say a few words. Gurj came on the programme last year. He'd come from a slightly more private sector background. As I say, we have lots of different people come on the programme, and from all sectors, having somebody from the, you know, more the merrier, from the private sector, the public sector. We do have a lot that tend to come from the voluntary community and social enterprise space, but whatever sector you've been working in, as Gurj will say, the private sector is absolutely a great place to join this kind of programme. I think Gurj had applied from the point of view of being a trustee for an organisation in Wigan, Thick Skin Theatre, but his main day job in the private sector was in finance, and I know he's had a job move in the last 12 months and he's now involved in sort of heading up finance in a national charity. Do you want to tell us more about, I guess, who are you and what was your journey like? What made you want to apply for this programme, and I guess how might it have helped your leadership journey?
Definitely. Thank you very much for inviting me to speak. And I know I'm conscious of time. I know certain people do have to drop off, but I really would encourage you to watch the video. And I hope so far the fantastic presentations helped you to understand what a great program it is. I'm only here to advocate for it further. As Nickala said, I do come from the private sector. And I come from more of a kind of professional finance side of things, but there's a big difference in doing a day-to-day role. There's a big difference in management of projects or management of teams and leadership. I think there's a massive distinction between that, actually. And the program was hugely beneficial to me. And I knew that not because of the links that I had to Wigan, which is a great, you know, fantastic borough and the fantastic work that Thick Skin, but the whole, you know, the council doing in and around it. But it was a unique opportunity to be in with a really diverse and great group of people. And actually, leadership is about being able to understand change. It's about being able to understand opinion. It's about having the confidence to relay your own. And that nothing within any kind of professional sector, professional role really provides you with that training or that peer support or that support network that provides you. So I'm very much an advocate that it doesn't matter which background you're from, if you have expertise or none, this is really, really worth pursuing, because even with years of having gone through different organizations and being qualified in a professional sense, you still don't get the benefit of what this course provided in terms of having an opportunity, and a very structured opportunity, I would say, to be able to attend, meet, and grow with people. And I really did grow with people. We grew to understand each other. We grew to understand each other's opinions. We grew to understand each other's viewpoints. And diversity is a really important thing, because if you have a view for the future, for yourself or for the organization that you might be working for, or for an organization that you want to build, the key thing is you have to understand that diversity of opinion is just as important as diversity of ability, because without that, you're not really going to understand how to reach out to the right people, how to do the right thing. So for me, it was amazing. Some of the people you saw on the poster before are good friends, are people that I absolutely know, network now with, and it was really, it was brilliant to be part of not just the journey of the whole group, but the journey of some of those individuals, because they're doing amazing things and they've gone on to do amazing things. And I would say that in the role that I am now, the ability to listen appropriately, the ability to impart information properly, the ability to engage and to understand and to be able to appreciate the landscape properly, all came from a lot of the skills that were taken from those sessions within that group. And that's vastly different within my personal development as it can be to your professional development. But you can't professionally develop unless you've personally developed, because your personal growth is reflected within that. So I know that there's a cohort from last year in my network going to be good experience to learn the lessons, not just of resilience, but to learn the lessons and past success, hire and build. Because it is a really unique opportunity. And more so, the reason why I'd come back and do this is because it helped to build my links with Wigan Council. They reached out to me. They really wanted to know, how can we make change? Because it wasn't a hugely diverse borough. They really wanted to understand and learn. And so what it did was it made sure that not only the voice that I had, but the voice I could represent was given a platform. And that was really key. And I think also it was a safe space. And that was the most important thing. Outside of what was happening in a work scenario or a family scenario or anything else, it was a fantastic place to come and be myself and be open and talk about all the things that perhaps we have as insecurities, perhaps things that we're unsure of talking about. And that can be from a gender point of view, can be from an ethnicity and race point of view, in different areas. And it truly was a very open and trusted safe space. And that in itself also showcased to me how I would like to lead teams going forward and how I'd like to build teams going forward. I will stop there because I can talk until the cows come home, but I will be honest with you, that is also a massive part of the confidence and the openness that it gave me. So I definitely advocate for it, get the application in, and it's a great team of people to be working with.
Kind words, Gurj, but I'm glad, you know, I think Sharon and I and Anna, who's part of our Flourish Together team and supports the programme, that not many of you will have come into contact with, we always learn something new. We always learn more about the progress and the kind of reflections that participants have had in sessions like this. So always more to learn, and great to hear that progress. And yeah, Gurj is one of many people who actually had a sort of professional development and a slight career change or job role change within the programme. We've had nearly 40% of the programme did go into some form of public appointment, and many of the people, you know, within the programme going into like those civic roles, as well as the sort of new sort of charity directorship, non-executive directorship roles, and various other things. So the one bit I'll just come back quickly to mention as well, Gurj mentioned the alumni network there, and absolutely we can't wait to see where that's going to lead. The beauty of the alumni network is, you know, whether you're successful or not with your application, you will have access to that network. We're, you know, one of the key things about this is just because you don't get on the programme doesn't mean you can't access further support. And we have a series of webinars that people will have access to, whether they're on the programme or not, that they can reflect on and learn from. There will be a couple of networking events throughout the programme itself, and then we hope the alumni network will initiate whatever they want, really, within the scope of the programme. And having you shown your interest in this programme will automatically mean that you're, you know, open potentially to come to some of those events and activities. So I think I'll pause there as well myself and just see whether we've got any questions from the floor or within the chat. So I'll get scrolling the chat and I'm guessing and see if anyone's got their hands up for particular questions.
I don't think we've got anything in the chat at the moment. Please feel free to populate the chat if you would like to ask a question, or you can come on and share your question in the forum here. We really are open to your questions. It's really important that you are able to make those inquiries and have those responded to here. Brilliant. Thank you, Sanam. No questions. Great. Thank you. I mean, it's been brilliant for Gurj to share his experience and his testimonial. Thanks so much for doing that, Gurj. And you know, it's reflective of so many of the stories that we have heard across this entire program. Nickala will as I do, attest to just how moving it's been as well. Remember this session that we had on resilience, Nickala? It was such an impactful session. And there really has been a community, as Gurj has referenced, a community, a peer network, which was, you know, a desired outcome, but the way in which it's manifest has just been so profound, and friendships have been formed, people have formed partnerships and collaborations with each other in a way that's not being orchestrated by us or engineered by us. And so we're really excited for you as prospective applicants. It really is a tremendous opportunity for you to build your network and really, as Gurj has said, professional and personal development. So looking in the chat, I'm seeing that there aren't any specific questions. Great, thank you, Ashley. You just no questions.
Oh, we've got one. We finally got one. It's a practical one.
Brilliant.
So, on practicalities, so what would the timings be? So typically on those program days, they tend to run from sort of 9:30 to 4:30, give or take. That's the typical program day. And as mentioned, the peer-to-peer 2-hour sessions, where there's just 3 of those later in the program, they've tended to be sort of 6 till 8, 6:30 till 8:30. We try to pick a time that's going to work for the cohort. That may be a good time this year. It may be that we need to tweak that slightly, but trying to make sure that things are accessible as possible, as you can get to where the things are. What I will just say is we do try and move things around venue-wise. So while some of the sessions will be in Manchester Central, oh, you read my mind. So whilst some of the sessions will be in central Manchester, because sometimes it's quite easy to come to a central point, the whole point of this kind of program is to showcase other civic leadership going on across the Greater Manchester area. So last year we went to Wigan, we went to Rochdale, and then around and about, you know, other areas, but typically it won't be any further than within Greater Manchester, and about a third of the time it will be in central Manchester, and the rest of the time we'll be trying to move things around a little bit, but we try to make sure, you know, it's not an onerous journey for people to get to. We're trying to make sure that people can get there by public transport where possible as well. It really doesn't matter if you're perceived to be an established leader. Not particularly, no. I mean, so we're actively looking for both emergent and established leaders. You know, one of the points, and Sharon may want to speak to this, you know, is that we already know there's a lot of fantastic leaders already there, and maybe there's been barriers, they've just not had a chance to amplify their impact just yet. Sharon, I don't know if you want to speak to the sort of the rationale behind the sort of different leaders.
Yeah, well, absolutely. It's one of the key things that we have identified, and has been identified, that there is so much potential that exists within the racially marginalized communities that just hasn't been recognized or celebrated. And so the whole point of this program is to hewn those out. It's to bring that potential to the fore. And so whether or not, that's why we use this expression, emerging and established leaders, because the purpose of the program is really to support that development and enable that development. So no, you don't have to have a title with a leader behind your name or any such thing. It's more so, as we are looking at the expressions of interest coming through, it's what is your desire in wanting to go through this program, and what impact are you wanting to make in your community, as opposed to what's already established and what you're already able to prove. So I see 2 hands. Gurj, I think yours was first, and then forgive me if I'm mispronouncing your name. Daoud, is that correct? Thank you. Good.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. I just really wanted to, again, you've picked up on most of the points. I really want to reiterate as a past participant that even if you are considered what people might see as an established leader, or having a responsibility or an employment role that perhaps gives you, you know, management responsibilities or leading responsibilities, I think that's the whole purpose of this program. One is that there's always room to grow and learn, but secondly, where you will grow and learn, and also where you can share and impart your knowledge, is a key thing here, because this is about trying to build others. And I always pick on the example of the fact, especially from racially marginalized communities, especially ethnic communities, that always felt they had ceilings or didn't have the opportunities. I grew up around households and communities where there were actually unofficial leaders, people who genuinely had those qualities and the abilities to do that, who were very ably leading households and very ably leading entire lives. And they had skills that were far more refined than people had seen in official workplaces. So that's why it's really important to bring that forward and not shy away from it, to share, learn, and grow, because it will be a benefit to everybody else. But also, leadership comes in many different forms, and I think whatever perception you might have of it, it can't be narrow-minded. And I learned a great deal from other ways of leading.
Thanks, Gurj. That's really helpful.
Good. Thank you. David.
Yeah, no, I think it sounds really exciting from what I've seen. I've been just in terms of I would like to participate, but I'm on a GMCA panel. I'm kind of on some other boards as well, and I've been doing this for around about 30 years now. So there's some room for me to improve further. There's no doubt about it. I just wondered what other successes have you had in terms of the previous participants? Because you've been going for 2 years now, haven't you?
Nickala, do you want to take that one?
Yeah, sure. So in terms of last year, we've been running the program for 1 year. It ran previously to that through a different organisation. In terms of successes, it depends what you mean by that, but there's a whole set of impact data in an evaluation that we've got in terms of what things led to for people. But things that we do know is that over 80% of the cohort had their awareness raised around what civic and public appointments actually means, and then at least 40% went on to go and secure various roles in that. There's information in there I've not got the stats for here, but we were keen to look at how people progressed in their roles, both in the workplace and more broadly, and also how they evolved in their income brackets. Whilst we don't come scrutinising your bank balances, a big part of leadership, although there's a kind of altruistic leadership and civic society requires that some of the time, we do support quite a lot of people who are maybe setting up their own charities and social enterprises, or have been leading those, or are looking for some sort of career progression, or looking to be recognised finally and financially remunerated for their leadership skill set. And so we do track and look at I guess increases or improvements in that for people, so that people can see the economic benefits where that's appropriate from their sort of leadership journey. I don't know if you've got any more specific questions in mind in terms of successes, but certainly all the people who were on the programme had interaction with their local authorities, many of whom hadn't had that level of engagement from their local authorities on a one-to-one in that way before. Numerous people were given access to opportunities like shadowing. Some people in certain local authority boroughs got to go and work, and I'm not talking about work experience here, I'm talking about I guess a day in the life type work, where you can go and work alongside, a strategic leader, and as peers learn from or think about the strategic alliances or technical skill sets that you can evolve by getting that more in-depth shadowing or mentoring from colleagues within the public sector. It was quite sort of tailor-made where we could get it in terms of that one-to-one connection. Which borough are you in, Dawood?
I'm in Oldham. You don't
Oldham.
recognise. Met you many, many years ago on
Yeah,
the social sector. But no, what I by success, I suppose, was more in terms of having meaningful impact. So it's fine if you've got a lot of more people. Say, I suppose, one in terms of numbers, getting people on governorships, school boards, things like that. But it's also then trying to measure the impact of that. And I think that's a little bit harder, I guess. But it's in terms of making a big difference. We talk about diversity, we talk about some of these other issues, but I've not seen the progress of the last 30 years to the extent that there ought to be. I mean, there's pockets of success, so it's unfair for me to say that. But, in some ways, we're still having the same discussion, certainly on the panels at GMCA. These discussions were being had about 30 years ago. So what I want to see, what I'd like to see and be part of as well is meaningful progress, so
Absolutely.
measurable. So it's not just the smart targets and everything, but just really seeing the impact it has on policy, on strategy, on implementation. So that's what I'm getting at, really.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
not just about
absolutely. Those are things we certainly want to see, and we'd actively encourage you to come and push the needle on this stuff. This is one of the reasons why we aren't just looking at aspiring or emergent leaders, you know, and this is why we're looking at having more established leaders who you know, can keep standing on the shoulders of giants to keep pushing on through. I totally hear what you're saying in a things can happen in a vacuum and things can happen in silos. But I think one of the things that we've been able to do with this program is to connect a slightly different dynamic and a different set of brains, characters, and geographies in new ways. And that's certainly our goal and our vision, isn't it, Sharon? I don't know if you want to add anything on there.
Most definitely, David. And one of the things that has been really important for us in undertaking the delivery of it's been understanding that we do want to see change, that there has been a lot of talk, and there has been a lot of even circumvention. And we want to see that the gaps that exist across our boroughs are closed in a positive way so that our communities can be impacted. And so we see this as a way of supporting the acceleration of leadership to influence at those decision-making tables.
No, all sounds good. I want to support it in any way I can. So I look forward to applying as well.
Yeah, no, please do, and do spread the word. And we're actively, obviously, looking for. Last year, I would say around 40 to 50% of the people either lived or worked in Manchester. It just has this sort of magnetism. Although we had 2 people from every borough, and in some boroughs there were, you know, 5 to 7 people from boroughs outside of Manchester. The more we feel, the more participation and engagement we can get from people outside of the kind of Manchester centric sort of sphere, the more you know, wider influencing from, you know, the wider realms of Greater Manchester we'll get, and we'll support to shape that change.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. I don't know if there are any more questions in the chat. I know several people have had to drop off, but for now, can I just extend my thanks to you all for attending this live information webinar, and for all of your questions. A copy of the recording will be sent out to everyone who is registered, so you'll be able to watch this on the replay. It's of course the case that you will be able to respond to that email which will come out from Anna via the Flourish Together email address. If you do have any more questions, any more inquiries, anything that's come to mind that hasn't emerged during the course of this call, please feel free to do so. Please feel free to ask. We want to ensure that you have the information that you need in order to make an informed expression of interest for this program. In the meantime, we really look forward to receiving all of your applications. We're very excited about starting this program. It's going to be another great program. And for now, that's it from me. Nickala, I don't know if there's anything more that you'd like to add.
I think the only bit I'll add, because we didn't get questions so much on it and we've not focused too hard in the presentation here, is just letting people know that obviously the deadline's the 31st. We then take our time to reflect on the applications. We have our independent panel, and people will be hearing by then there's sort of like the Easter period as well. You know, we've got Eid at the start, Easter at the end, so there's a little bit of time lapse, but you will hear from us by early May to know whether or not you've been on the program. There'll be at least sort of a 2-week notice window. I would hold some of those dates in your diary. Certainly the 22nd of May is the start date, and the dates are in the EOI. It does ask you about you know, your availability, so you'll be able to jot those dates down, and then yeah, we'll look forward to notifying people a couple of weeks in advance. For whatever reason, if certain people don't get on the programme, you'll come to see that, you know, the door is open there, both for certain aspects of the programme and coming to network, and also through that alumni network as well. So there is this programme in itself, but there's also a lot of opportunity through the She Leads for Legacy organisation in its activities, Flourish Together's organisation in its activities, and our wider networks and people we've connected to through these programmes across the piece. So
Sharon?
look forward to seeing what happens. And we've got Chinna there. I'm hoping Chinna's going to apply. But anyway, we'll look forward to speaking to you in due course, and hope you have a lovely evening.
Thanks, everyone. Bye for now.
Bye for now. Thank you.
Thank you.